Behind Closed Doors by Michelle Stimson. Cole made the mistake of forgetting to set his alarm clock so that I could get up, sneak out of his bedroom window, and get back to my house before my mom missed me. Consequently, I got busted sleeping in his bedroom. His parents called my mom. My mom rushed over and apologized profusely. I'm so sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler. I don't know why my daughter is behaving this way. Mom, Cole and I are just friends, I repeated for the 50th time. Neither Cole's parents nor my mom listened. Figures, though, parents always believe the worst. It didn't matter that Cole and I had been friends since junior high school or that I was on Cole's couch. People over the age of 25 always think any time a boy and a girl get together, a baby will magically appear. All the way home, my mom fussed at me about not presenting myself as a respectable, decent young lady. She threatened to make me take an HIV test and a pregnancy test in the next few weeks. I think you should take a marijuana test too, because you must be out of your mind sneaking over to your boyfriend's house to spend the night. I smashed my head against the headrest again. Cole is not my boyfriend. Next thing you know, she starts fake crying, making her voice crack, although I see no actual tears. That's even worse. At least if he was your boyfriend, I think you have some kind of reason for sleeping with a boy. Enough with all this drama. Are you even listening to me? Cole and I didn't do anything. We never do. She gasped. What do you mean never? How many times have you slept at his house? Are you some kind of prostitute or something? Is he paying you? Wow. I rolled my eyes and rocked my head toward the window. Through the side view mirror, I could see the bus stopping at the corner where I should have been standing so that I could board the yellow rescue vehicle and go to school. No first period for me today, though. I could only imagine what my mom was going to write on my excuse note. Please overlook my daughter's tardiness. She's late because she's a promiscuous little floozy. Sincerely, Lisa Lynn Murdoch. As we approached the outside of our 3-bedroom, 2-car garage, 1-story house with its brown bricks and tan trim, the irony of its appearance hit me again. From the outside, this place I shared with my mom looked like any normal house. Driveway swept clean, hedges trimmed, potted mums on the front porch. My mom hopped out of the car, and reluctantly I followed. At the front door, she waited for me like she always does before we go inside. I hoisted my backpack onto my shoulder to block potential viewers. Stand to the side of me, she directed, while visually searching to make sure the coast was clear of neighbors who might be putting out their trash cans or walkers taking an early stroll. Her strawberry blonde hair bounced anxiously as she surveyed our surroundings above the rim of her ancient glasses. She'd bought two new pairs last year, but both had gotten lost. The hum of a car engine threatened nearby. My mother waited for the vehicle to pass, took another look around, and then quickly opened the door so that she and I could step inside. My nightmare resumed. Mom closed the door behind me, but it might as well have been a jail door slamming shut. Everywhere I turned, junk. Boxes, bags, trash, pictures, clothes, dolls, shoes, blankets, nail polish, books, chairs, plastic water bottles, dishes, purses, Christmas decorations, computer equipment, tables, and stuff I couldn't even begin to categorize, piled waist high all around us. And this was the cleanest room in the house. Familiar routine, my mom used her feet to shove aside a few items that had tumbled into our walking path. More and more, the path got cluttered as mountains of what my mother deemed reusable items spilled out of place, threatening to take over the one-lane channel through our house. Despite the chaos before both our eyes, my mom mumbled, "Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, you sleeping at Cole's house." I've been raised to respect my parents, mostly, but that day, my mom's words really got to me. After all these years of sleeping in a sleeping bag in the only semi-uncluttered corner of what used to be our family room, and all the lies I told potential friends about why we couldn't play video games at my house, she had the nerve to say I was ridiculous? Are you serious, Mom? This is what's ridiculous. This house, all this junk. This is why I've been spending nights at Kohl's. I can't take this place anymore. My mother looked up at me and shook her head. No, no, don't try to blame this on me, Nicole. You're the one sneaking out of your house too. Mom, this is not a house. This is the trash can. And it stinks. Even when I wash my clothes, they still stink because of all this stuff you won't throw away. Do you have any idea how much Febreze I use in a month so I won't smell like a dumpster at school? I badgered her. She turned away from me and continued to clear the way for us to walk toward the kitchen, although I don't know why. No way would I eat anything prepared anywhere near that contamination. Just by looking at it, you couldn't tell where anything started or ended. The heaps of trash, dishes, rotten food, fake plants, clocks, expired canned meats, fruits, and vegetables. I had no doubt that if someone from Child Protective Services entered our home, I would be taken away. Since I turned 17 a few months state intervention wasn't such a big worry for me. I could be emancipated and go on to live my life free of all this mess, literally, and God knows I wanted to. What would happen to my mom? As bad as she had gotten, I knew it wasn't all her fault. When I was 10 years old, my brother, Sean, died in a car accident along with his best friend, Adam. On top of that, Sean was the underage drunk behind the wheel who caused the crash. Toxicology reports show that Adam was just as drunk as Sean, but nobody blamed him for hopping in the car. Witnesses even said they'd seen Adam goofing around in the passenger seat shortly before the crash. For all we know, he might have done something to cause the accident. Still, Sean got all the blame. Everyone we knew, the people at church, at my old school, Girl Scouts, and our old neighbors, blamed our entire family for what happened. The Murdoch name was mud. Worse than mud, actually. Horse manure was more like it. Around that time, Mom started buying stuff we didn't need. Elvis albums, stockpiles of ramen noodles, velvet for creative projects she never got around to, collections that never appreciated in value. She even bought stuff she said Sean would have liked. Slowly, she began blocking herself from the rest of the world with all this junk. My dad made her go to therapy because she was getting into all kinds of trouble at her job. Coming to work late, sleeping on the job. I think she actually had a boyfriend somewhere in all this. By the time I was 13, my parents had split up. I begged my dad to let me stay with my mom. Somehow, even at that young age, I knew my mom needed me. She'd already lost her firstborn, her identity as a good mom, and her husband. If she lost me too, she might not see any reason to continue living. So I stayed with her. And over the years, the hoard just grew and grew and grew until there was this huge monster in our house. Weirdest part, the monster was invisible to my mom. Cole and I sat together at lunch. As usual, we both stole extra hamburgers for me to take home and eat for dinner since our kitchen was absolutely out of commission. I think the cafeteria ladies knew we were stealing, but they must have figured anyone desperate enough to steal school food needed pity. They were right. Cole was the only person who knew firsthand about my living conditions. He wasn't grossed out by our house. He was amazed more than anything. "So what are you going to do?" he asked, slurping up the last of his chocolate milk. "I don't know. I can't put up with it anymore." The more I thought about the morning's fiasco, I realized I was more hurt about my mom calling me a prostitute than about all the junk. After all the covering I'd done for her hoarding over the years, to have her question my decency made me feel like she had gone beyond the scope of reality. Something had to be done. Cole raised one corner of his mouth. "You could talk to the volunteer lady, Miss Rex. She's cool. I hear she won't call the police or anything. She's got some kind of immunity because she's like a preacher or something." I shrugged. "There's nothing she can do unless she's willing to come over and clean my house." Cole offered, "I'll help you clean up. There's got to be a million really cool things in all that stuff." I thanked him but had to explain. My mom barely lets me throw out expired coupons because we might, someday, use them to wrap up tiny shot glasses when we pack to move someplace we're never moving to. She thinks everything deserves a chance at a second life. There's no way she'll let me clean up the house. "What if she wasn't home?" he suggested. "I mean, if you wait until she's gone to clean up, she won't even know what she's missing. When is that antique convention she goes to every year?" I knew, even then, it was a bad idea. But what choice did I have? I couldn't sleep in that house. I always felt like the walls were caving in on me. Couldn't breathe at night. "Actually, she's going to the conference next month," I admitted. "Cool. By then, I won't be grinding anymore. The minute she leaves the house, we get busy cleaning," Cole said. In the weeks leading up to my mom's trip, she and I didn't talk much. She had called my Aunt Tony, who lived clear across the country in Minnesota, and told her what a terrible thing I'd done, sneaking out to sleep with my boyfriend. She told my dad that Cole and I had been caught in the act, which was a total fabrication intended to make my dad feel like a bad father. Thank goodness he believed what I told him about me and Cole. He saw through to the real problem. "Honey, if the house gets unbearable, you're welcome to live with me." "I know, but Mom needs me." "You need you, sweetheart. Your mom's not well," he started in again. I cut him off with a yawn. "I've got to go, Dad." I ended the call and marked off another day on the calendar leading to the big cleanup. I texted Cole. She's gone. Within 10 minutes, Cole had his truck backed up to the garage. He let down his tailgate and grabbed a few trash bags from the truck bed. "Seriously? 2 trash bags?" I laughed at him. We made a trip to the dollar store and bought every box of trash bags they had. It took all Friday evening just to work through the garage so we could begin to work on the kitchen. Nicole, I know you want to do this, but we're going to need some help if we plan to get finished by Sunday evening. I had a few friends from the French club. None of them could be trusted with the mayhem I called home. 1 minute in that place would easily result in 1 million views on YouTube and 1,000 hateful comments. The only person with some idea of what to expect would be my dad. However, he wasn't too excited about the idea. Nicole, I really don't think you should do this. Your mom isn't ready. That's too bad. I can't take it anymore, I told him. Did you call her therapist? She hasn't gone to a therapist in years. I thought she said, no, Dad, she's lying. He tried again. Honey, your mom is really sick. I've got to go. I'll call you if I come across anything you might want to keep. Cole got in touch with a few of his cousins who promised not to make a spectacle of my house. They came over Saturday morning and tried to help me sort through things. Cole's cousin, Amanda, had watched television shows about hoarding. She suggested we make 3 stacks: stuff to keep, stuff to give away, and stuff to throw away. We were about 10 minutes into her strategy when a stash of mice jumped out of their hiding place while she was sorting in the dining room. At that moment, we had to face facts. We were not going to sort. Pretty much everything that wasn't salvageable furniture had to go. I kept a few of my mom's clothes, the things that still had tags on them, and some of the stuff in her bathroom. But I figured she'd taken the belongings she really needed with her on the trip, so there would be nothing dire discarded. As for my things, I really didn't have much to keep. 2 or 3 pairs of jeans, some shirts, some tennis shoes. For all the stuff my mom had piled up in what used to be my room, most of it was out of date or too small for me. I just wanted it all gone. By noon, we stopped reasoning and stopped talking. We just filled bags and tossed them in the truck, one after the other. The refrigerator was too gross to open. We threw it out without even trying to clean it. After clearing out the bathroom, we discovered several areas with mold, which explained why I'd been having trouble breathing. The walls had actually begun to crack from all the junk packed against the seams. Floors had weak spots from the weight of the monster. Though I was beginning to see remnants of our old house, it was clear that the actual structure had taken a beating from years of hoarding. We'd filled the beds of Cole's truck 14 times and gone through almost as many boxes of trash bags by Saturday evening. Cole's cousins went home around 6, but he and I kept working. We had to clear out Sean's room as much as possible. Cole knew about my brother. You sure you want to clean out his room? We have to, I told him. This is where it all started. I'm sure your mom will want to save some of his stuff. Yeah, I agree, but the things that actually belong to him are at least 3 feet beneath all this other trash. Cole and I worked until we reached the things I remembered about my brother: his clothes, his shoes, and his Letterman jacket. We can stop, I said with a shaky voice. That's enough for today. Are you okay? I blinked back tears. Yeah, I'm fine. You can go home now. He stuck his hands in his pockets. I don't want to leave you like this. Dude, you sound like a romance movie. I teased him. Not. He pulled out his keys. What time should we start in the morning? 8 or so. I mean, we've only got until about 5 in the afternoon before she gets home. Cool. Cole left me alone to finish Sean's room. Even though the walls were a wreck, now I could see the posters Sean himself had taped on them. Charlotte, Soldier Boy, Jessica Alba. The past came crawling back, reminding me of all the good times our family used to have. My dad and I used to eat popcorn and watch science fiction movies. My mother used to make cookies for the Christmas parties. Sean taught me how to stand up for myself when another girl was picking on me. All of these little memories came flooding back into my mind, and for a moment, I felt good. That was my first inclination of how my mother must have felt about every little scrap of trash, every stitch of clothing, and every folder filled with leftover paper. Maybe if she kept it around, it might make her feel good. I picked up all the trash from the floor and decided to leave my brother's room alone. It wasn't clean, but it was down to the bare essence of Sean. My mom deserved to be able to sort through his things herself. Sunday morning, Cole was early. Apparently, his cousins were too disgusted to come back with him. They're a bunch of babies, he said with a wave of his hand. We can finish without him. Without them, my body ached, and by this time my eyes were itchy from all the dust and other airborne particles we'd released while cleaning. Nonetheless, Cole and I kicked it up a notch, and carted another 8 bedloads of stuff to the dumpster. I figured we only had about another hour left before my mom got home, so we got busy sweeping and disinfecting, wiping down counters. The house was far from finished, but if I had to give it a number, I'd say it was 75% complete, not considering Sean's room. I planned to get another hallway done and have Cole clear the premises before my mom got home. Unfortunately, I overestimated the time it would take for her to get from the airport back to the house. Sean and I were in the living room, which was discernible now. He had the vacuum roaring, a sound I hadn't heard in years, and I was busy wiping the windows when the cab stopped at the curb. My mom frantically scrambled out of the cab, threw some cash in the front seat, grabbed her suitcases, and clambered across the front lawn. The way she moved, I could tell she must have recognized Cole's truck. She must have been thinking the worst about Cole and me. I had to meet her